Alright folks, we got a little bit of a problem and we need to talk about it. And if you guys have been watching my videos for a long time, you know I'm very frequently, I try to take the positive approach on things with regards to new products and things of that nature. As someone who's been playing Magic for a long time, I love when new stuff comes out. I get excited to like review it, break it down, you know, theory craft with deck building and all that. But I also like to open some packs from time to time. I find it fun. I think if you do it responsibly, it can be an enjoyable experience. And I think one of the strongest aspects of that in terms of pack opening is collector boosters. Now, I've always said on this channel that if you're going to spend the money on sealed product, generally speaking, collector boosters are the way to go because you're spending a little bit more money, but your potential returns are significantly higher. And if you're not looking to do that, then I would suggest maybe just buying singles, because singles at the end of the day will always be the best way to purchase things. So I just want to get that out of the way before anything else. I have taken to buying singles a lot, but sometimes it's fun to just rip some packs. And generally speaking, for a long time, you could do that, you know, fairly affordably, depending on your circumstances. So if we go back to a set like Aether Drift, for example, which I'm only using as an example because this set is pretty poor overall, but if you wanted to open, say, some packs of Aether Drift, you could either open a collector booster, a single collector booster for around, we'll say $20, $22, whatever, or you could open like 5 play boosters for like 25 bucks. So for me, if you're doing those side-by-side price comparisons, I feel like you have a much better shot of getting something really cool out of the collector booster for about the same price, whereas more often than not in the play boosters, you're going to hit stuff that's like middling, especially when it's a set that's not great. So that's the reason that I like collector boosters. The upside is there, and in terms of them existing, it's much better for the community because whales who buy and open them in large quantities flood the market with cheaper printings of things that are not the high-end premium version, and then things are more affordable for us as players. So while people complain about all the different like wonky variants and alternate art treatments and stuff, what it does do is it does make the base versions of these cards a lot more affordable for players. And at the end of the day, Magic is a game that we want to play, so being able to get stuff cheap but also have the option of upgrades is awesome. So that little rant out of the way, collector booster, this whole thing is getting completely out of hand. And this started back with Final Fantasy when this came out, and people who were not Magic players necessarily, or people who were just big collectors of Final Fantasy, kind of really came into the market, started buying this stuff up, and we've seen absolutely unprecedented results in terms of numbers here. The collector boosters for Japanese Final Fantasy are around $740 for a box, which mathematically speaking, we are doing a little bit of math as we go here, but if you break it down, that's around $62 a pack for a Japanese collector booster. The English Final Fantasy collector booster boxes are around $1,400, which is absolutely insane, by the way. Just want to put that out there. And if we divide that by 12, we're looking at about $116 per pack. This is about, I don't even know, 2.5 times the price of previous premium collector boosters. So looking at a different set like Dominaria Remastered, for example, which was considered a premium set, a reprint set, whatever, collector boosters on that were a little bit more expensive, but you also had like the Tutors, you had all these Force of Will, like stuff you could pull out of there. So it was like, okay, these are a premium set, but there's some better cards included in there. We can argue the merits of whether or not, like, yeah, it'll cost the same to print and all of that. I'm not looking to have an ethical debate about, like, reprinting certain sets as premium, whatever. That's a totally separate topic for another day. But generally speaking, you can get Dominaria Remastered collector boosters at about $26 per if you go by the average of a box cost. So $115 versus $26 is a massive, massive difference. And what unfortunately has happened here is that because of this spike with Final Fantasy, because you did have the Neon Ink Chocobos and other things that are a bunch of money in these sets, people are started buying them up that are outside the hobby as well. So now you have regular Magic players, you have Final Fantasy fans who are either getting into Magic for the first time because of Final Fantasy or just want to collect their favorite characters and stuff in fancy arts. And then you have like scalpers and stuff who are getting into it, similar to Pokemon, where it's like we can buy this, we can sell it at a much higher price, etc. And all of that combined has essentially depleted what was an already limited stock. Final Fantasy, you know, in general, got a very large print run. I think Wizards knew it was going to sell well, and they are going to continue to print set boosters, or play boosters, whatever the hell they're called now. But collector boosters are one and done. And so there's this like scarcity that already exists, and as people start to buy these, rip open these products, whatever, we're talking about a box that has an MSRP price of $399.99. That's what that should have been, $400. You should have been paying, realistically speaking, based on the intent, around $35 a pack for a collector booster of Final Fantasy. You could get them at Target, Best Buy. If you got lucky, I was able to find a few in the wild when the set first dropped. There was an opportunity there, but I had to go right when they open. You have to either, get lucky, or maybe your LCS is selling them a little bit cheaper. But generally speaking, that's kind of what your options were. Either find it right away or basically be shut out of luck unless you get lucky. And this would be fine if it wouldn't be fine. It's annoying, but it would be fine if it was just like a one-off situation, but it's not. Right? This is now something we're starting to see become the trend going forward. So after Final Fantasy was Edge of Eternities. Now, Edge of Eternities is a set that I think was really well done. It is not a Universes Beyond set, so it has a lower MSRP. It should have been like somewhere around $250, I think should be what the MSRP is. And these are well around, we're just going to call it 400 for the sake of math, for these boxes. And that would put us at somewhere around 30, well, I can't do math well. I forgot a zero. That'll put us around $33.33 a pack, which is high for a collector booster that's supposed to be around $25.99. But it's not egregious, but it's still a concerning trend, right? There was never really an opportunity to get Edge of Eternities at MSRP or even close to it because of the stuff in the set that was starting to go up, like the Galaxy Foil versions of the lands and stuff. People are buying this up. But then you're like, well, are there lingering people who got into this for Final Fantasy from a scalping perspective and then are like, oh, okay, we'll buy out these collector boxes and then we'll start selling these for more money as well. Okay, that's fine. So you're like, all right, so two examples, whatever. Edge of Eternity is a little higher. We saw that with like Tarkir as well. Prices are increasing and everything. All right, so even if you take Edge of Eternity out of it, let's take a quick look here at SpiderMan, all right? Marvel Spider-Man Collector Booster Display for a set, by the way, that we have seen very little of at the time of this video, which is August 19th. We have seen a small handful of actual hits for this set. We know there's a Soul Stone, we know there's that special treatment, which is cool, but this is around $984 before it even has a full reveal or has hit the market. So Final Fantasy at least started out around like 5, 6 after the pre-orders and then slowly trickled up. We don't even have that opportunity for this yet. Right, so Spider-Man's going whoop, and it's all the way up at the top. The cheapest you can get a box right now is $984.81 on here, and it's pretty much sold out everywhere else. So it's not like you even have the opportunity to get them anywhere, unless you got lucky with an LCS. So $82 a pack on average before it even releases is what the average cost of this is. And this is kind of where my problem comes in now, because collector boosters are now starting to be priced out before they even have a chance to be priced out, right? This is like Pokemon, where, I mean, not to the level of Pokemon, but where like a set is pretty much bought out before it even drops, or like whatever. If you're a player who wants to get some cool collector boosters of Spider-Man, you physically are not going to be able to do so without spending an arm and a leg unless you got super lucky. Either, like I said, you have an LCS who hooked you up and they took some pre-orders at a good price. But I've heard from various LCSs that they didn't even get a significant number of allocations where they could pre-order, offer these pre-orders at some level of a reasonable price. And we're seeing the same thing with the gift bundle, right? This has a collector booster in it. This is also really, really cool design, I'm not going to lie. But I mean, these are supposed to be, I think, $89.99, and they're selling at double that already before they even hit the shelf. So this scalping effect, I say scalping, I know it's not just scalping. I'm aware that it's a combination of scalping and fans coming in and Magic growing in popularity, but you can't tell me there's not a correlation between what started happening with Final Fantasy and what we see happening with these other sets as we keep moving forward. And it's not good. It's definitely not good. I like Universes Beyond. I like collector boosters, but I think this method, what we're seeing happen here, is crazy. And while I'm not super excited for Spider-Man, I am really excited for Avatar, and I didn't even get a chance to get a pre-order of this set for collector boosters or anything. They're already at $933. I'm told they went up on Amazon very briefly and got sold out. I think they were up on Amazon, I'm guessing at around $400 was probably the pre-order price for a little bit, and then they just were gone, and the opportunity to get them is basically already gone. Again, this doesn't come out until November, and we've only seen a small handful of cards in the set, and while it does look fun, it's essentially hard to get excited about a product from the perspective of like a consumer, because it's like, all right, well, I'm not going to even have a chance to open any of these. And again, I know people are going to hear this and be like, well, just, buy the seal, whatever, or buy the singles. Yes, but that's not the point. There should be an opportunity that exists to pick these things up at a fair-ish price without having to worry about it. Whether Wizards should print more so that there's more demand. I mean, so there's more supply to go with the demand. I don't know. But I mean, the fact that you can't even get these things, that there's people who want to buy them and can't. feels to me like a problem that could very easily be addressed. We're not talking like supply and demand, like a bunch of time has passed and this all sold out and it did really well. This hasn't even hit the shelves yet. This set could bomb. I don't think it's going to, but it could, in theory. It could be bad outside of everything that we've seen and people aren't going to like it, you know? So the point is, the problem is you're really starting to price people out of the game in the sense of product, and that has negative effects on everyone who wants to, you know, participate in opening these things. And while it is you know, more about playing the game and everything, especially for me, there are a lot of people who want to be able to rip some stuff, and they should have the opportunity to do that without having to deal with like scalpers and bots. I know there's been Discord bots who are buying up tons of things, and that just keeps happening. The more these prices spike, the more of a problem that's going to be coming into the community. And obviously the solution would be not to buy them at these inflated prices, but you and I all know that's not going to happen. So the alternative solution, I guess, would be to hope that Wizards either makes it more accessible to people. I don't know, whether it's like, I don't know, on their site, maybe they could do like an open pre-order for collector boosters where everybody has a chance to buy one that wants to buy one for like 24 hours or something. And then they ship them out, you know, when the orders come through. Something to give people an opportunity, because it's more money in their pocket too. You know, I know they want to play into the FOMO and the limited scarcity and the hype and everything else, but this stuff is going to sell because of what it is. It just shouldn't be selling at twice the price already before you even have a chance to get it. And then seeing that people can buy like 5 boxes on Amazon at a time. Like, that's absolutely insane to me, that there's not harder limits on these to allow the community as a whole more opportunities to get them. And what we're seeing as a bit of a trickle down is other older sets starting to go up too. Bloomborough collector boxes now are around $715. And this set is cool. I love the design. I thought it was an awesome product, but there's not even cards in the set that really justify that price. There are the raised foil anime arts, but they're extremely hard to pull on the same level as like the Neon Ink Chocobos. But unlike Final Fantasy, where you have like good Surge foil hits and good bonus sheet hits, Bloomborough kind of falls off a cliff after those top hits with a few exceptions. And yet these are way up. You see the graph. Like, this was like a $430 box, and in 3 months it's gone up $300. Which is like, I'm thinking people looking at collector booster products and saying, oh, well, look, let's buy these. Let's buy these. Like, that sort of thing is now creating a problematic trend. Same thing with Wilds of Eldraine. Again, really strong subset in this with Ristic Study and the anime art stuff. But this has gone up over $300 in the course of a year. And it's just one of those things where it's like, I fear that it's bleeding over into other products. And it's largely a result of the Final Fantasy set. In my opinion, Final Fantasy is one of the best products we've gotten in years. I think it was a really fun draft experience. The design was awesome. It did a good job of blending Magic mechanics with catering to Final Fantasy fans, but it sets now such an awful precedent for these collector boxes going forward. And then you get the rip and shippers and people who are selling it even higher than what the retail price is because they have to make their money, quote unquote. So yeah, I mean, I'm mostly just screaming into the void talking about this, but it's like, it's just a crazy thing that we're now starting to see as a trend, and I'm hoping that it doesn't continue. But as Magic continues to make more sets that are both well received in universe and out, I don't see where it would go anywhere else unless something changes. So maybe we make this stuff a little bit more accessible, or maybe we give people a chance to buy more. Like, the product is there, people want to spend their money, but they don't even have the opportunity to, and that's crazy. Because if I'm a business and I want to sell stuff to people and they want to spend money, I'm gonna figure out a way to get that to them. So that's all I got on this. A little bit of a rant, a little bit of an unscripted rant, but hopefully you guys have some thoughts. Let me know in the comment section down below if you've been successful with getting any of these, Avatar, Spider-Man, etc. I'll catch you guys next time.